Okay, this is not as bad as it sounds, but it's as galling as it sounds. From July 2026, if you have Microsoft Word 2021 for the Mac, well, you have to update it to keep working, okay, and Microsoft gives you some free ways to do that. Good, but if you have Microsoft Word 2019 for the Mac, I don't actually know how else to say this, you're screwed. Well, actually, I can't think of one other way to say it, but you know, this is a family show. Anyway, there are things you can do. What's happening is that as of that date, you will no longer be able to write or to edit documents in Word 2019. You'll be able to view them, says Microsoft. You have thanks. Okay, software moves on, things happen, and as frustrating as it is that you bought a perpetual license that's worthless, what, 7 years later? Microsoft isn't the first to do this to us, and I presume, unfortunately, won't be the last. The other thing is, you can do a bad thing. You can apparently break a previous commitment, but you don't have to also do it in a bad way, and that is what has happened. The reason, though, that I don't think that this is quite the gigantic issue that it is being presented as is because Microsoft does offer, this is a separate thing, but it offers a free way to use Word on the web. Now, that's useless to you if you're somewhere where there's a poor internet connection, okay? And just, I love the idea of storing all of my documents where Microsoft can read them all. I mean, okay, I am sure there are some T's and C's somewhere where it says you won't ever do that, but then it previously had a T and a C that said you'd still be able to write and edit in Word 2019 that you bought. So nonetheless, Word is on the web and you can use it. So let's you and I check whether you have to, and then what are the choices you've got. If Microsoft is going to force you to spend money, though, it's really tempting to spend it on a rival instead, isn't it? Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which, as ever, as always, is for writers. Writers like you and me who use and who write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. You know this next bit. Please, yeah, do like, subscribe, or patronize me. Love that word. Yeah. You know how it works with YouTube, but I hope you also know how much it means to me when you do. But urgent stuff first. This is the important bit. Let's rattle through the practical things here, starting with that free web version, because that could be the best option for you. In fact, actually, if this is all you need, well, then you can just stop watching this video and get back to writing, can't you? And then after that, you and I we'll deal with Word 2019 as that's the most affected. And then there's some little bits about Word 2021, which is kind of wobbly. And then also, actually, let's do a little brief bit about leaving Word for these rivals, for other apps. Not a lot about that, though, because there's recently, as it happens, I recently did a whole 58 Keys video on how to move away from Word. And again, you know how this works. There'll be a link to it, yeah. But first, right, Word on the web. In any browser, go to word.cloud.microsoft. There are other routes, possibly more memorable routes, actually, now I think of it, but word.cloud.microsoft gets you straight to Microsoft Word on the web without most of the faff and the ads on the way. You'll then have to sign in or create a Microsoft account, and it's another walled garden. All right, just like Google's, just like Apple's. It seems to me that whatever the first one of these you come across and sign up for, that's fine. It makes sense. It works. But then all of the rest are a royal pain switching in and out. I mean, Google and Microsoft, they've yet to reduce me to tears, but it's been so close. Sorry, we have a problem logging you in. That's a Microsoft one that's worth a grumble. No such account exists. Fully deserves a tantrum when the account does exist. That's also Microsoft. Why ever do I prefer local copies of apps and logging into things? Sign in and Word is right there in your browser. Now, if you are coming from Word 2019, it's going to look a little bit different, but it's still the same thing. It's still Word. It'll still read your documents. It's still the same thing of desperately trying to find the bit you want in that ridiculously poorly designed ribbon, but, you know, you're a Word user. You'll figure it out. While you're doing that, though, you will also always see an option to buy this, to subscribe to Microsoft 365. It's an ad that's actually almost restrained from Microsoft, but it's there. It's always there. And if you choose it, what it could get you is Word on the Mac, directly on the Mac, and Excel, which is superb. And PowerPoint, yeah. This is Microsoft 365 Personal, and that costs £85 or $100 per year. And it lets you use Word and the rest on up to 5 devices, which includes the Mac, the iPad, and the iPhone. If you need it, and if you like it, it's not an awful deal. If you only use Word because your publisher requires you to, well, it's a galling deal that you will resent every time Word does its, the things it does, the insane things it does to your text. So, you'll resent it hourly. Nonetheless, Word for the web is the cheapest answer to what Microsoft is pulling here, and there are these options to then move on and buy ones if you really must. But let's now check, just check that whether you need to do something. Let's just check if you have Windows Word 2019 or Word 2021. Let's do that. Unless you happen to remember. To check your version, launch Word. You might get a splash screen that says the version somewhere, but what you can definitely do is click on the Apple menu and then choose the section called About Microsoft Word. Now, I've got to say, I don't have this. By chance, I have a later version, bought begrudgingly because of a particular project. So I'm not clear quite what you will see because it does change, but hopefully it will say 2019 somewhere, and it may even be as apparent as this, although I should say this is the best I could find. It's a Windows screenshot, so yeah, with luck it'll be all right. If you have got Windows 2019, then despite all previous published commitments, Microsoft now gives you no choice. This version will cease to work in July. I don't think looking at the things I've been able to writing is considered working, but you're going to have to get a new one. There is no upgrade. There's no upgrade deal either. Just, get out your wallet and your purse. If you have Word 2021, I should say, there are more possibilities. It's a little bit more complicated. I would like to thank Reddit. I would like to thank Reddit about this, but I can't actually say aloud the name of the subreddit where this came up in. Although you could search for 4 asterisks and the word Microsoft, and well, whether or not you get the subreddit, you'll get the idea. Thank you to them, and also to someone called Jimmy Tech, who slogged through this so that we don't have to. Links again below. According to him, check your version number in about Microsoft Word, and if it is not version 16.83, or you expected a sensible version number, it's not that or higher from Microsoft, then you really need to upgrade. But you can with Word 2021. Go to the Help menu and choose Check for Updates. There is another issue over what version of Mac OS your Mac is using. It needs to be Mac OS Monterey, also called Mac OS 12, which came out in 2021. If your Mac is not on that, you need to upgrade that through on the Mac, Apple menu, Settings, Software Update. If you can update Mac OS there, or you can update Word in Word, well, that's what you need to do. You're surely going to be in the same hole that Word 2029 users are, even as a Word 2020, losing track of this, but you've probably got a couple of years before Word 2021 forces you down the same route, you would imagine. If you're buying today, you do have to figure out what version you need, though. Remember I said there are those routes you could get to, there are different versions. Do you know, I suddenly remember Steve Jobs mocking how Microsoft sold, I think it was 11 billion different versions of Windows, and it was on you to figure out which one. To figure out, did you need the personal, the business, the enterprise one, the cheese shop edition? I don't know. Whereas with the Mac, back then when you had to buy Mac OS, you bought Mac OS and that was it. One thing, you bought it, you were done. Everybody, fine. Whoever you were, whatever company you did, there it was. One purchase, go. Anyway, today, Microsoft has calmed down. It sells only 2 versions of Word as the standalone one-time purchases. They are Office Home 2024 for £120 or $180, or Office Home and Business 2024 for £250 or $250. I'll put links to both of these in the description, of course. But this time I particularly recommend that you use those links because Microsoft really would prefer you found the subscription versions of all of this long before you even know there are one-time purchase ones. It's you, I'll tell you this, I used AI to find that. I couldn't find it in research. I mean, one thing is you needing AI for research, and the other one is AI working. The chief difference, anyway, between these two versions of Office 2024 with Word and the rest is that the business one also includes Outlook, so you might want that. There is another way, though. It is routine for third-party resellers to sell these one-time versions for a lot less. I think I paid £40 for mine. I'm not sure. I was grinding my teeth at the time. Anyway, I honestly don't know how these things work. I don't know how they're sanctioned, but these deals are constantly being advertised, and they're being advertised widely, so presumably legitimately, or Microsoft lawyers, search for those, and that could be your only expense. Except, whether it's now or later, there will come a point when your Mac can't be updated any further. And if that's the case, well, that thing I said about software update, you won't see that. If that's happening to you now, it's crap timing, isn't it? But if your Mac now can't be updated to Monterey or later, then Word 2021 will also stop working in July 2026. And then normally I'd be reluctant to say you should buy a new Mac. I mean, being forced to because of Microsoft or because of Apple, really, you don't want to do that, and it's a lot of money. But you're running Microsoft Word 2021 on a Mac that can't be updated to 2021's Mac OS Monterey. So I know you're using a Mac that has an Intel processor. Anything you buy now will have Apple Silicon inside it instead, and you will be agog at the difference. I mean, if I just say it's faster, that really doesn't convey it, because it's not like I sit here with a stopwatch, although actually plenty of people do. You think they'd have things to write, but faster to me is more responsive, right? I'll tell you what, back when Apple Silicon first came out, I screen recorded while I wrote and while I added a link to a related article ready for publishing on the web. So previously on 58 Keys, here's writing on the Mac Mini. On the left, my old Intel Mac Mini, and on the right, my new Apple Silicon one. Actually, I think you can see right away that I'm writing faster on the new one, but let's go in close up. Let's see more. Now, that's the new Apple Silicon Mac Mini on the top, the old Intel one on the bottom. And here's the thing I do a lot. I need to make some text into a link in this article, so I've already copied the link. Now, I cut the text, type a trigger phrase, and wallop, it's all done. If you can get a new Mac, do. But like I said, getting it because Microsoft is forcing you, no, not keen on that. Out of this annoyance, though, can come some good. The Macs now are I like them before, they're tremendous now. Two things left to say. One of it, it's quick about leaving Microsoft, and then only if you're interested, there's what Microsoft has to say about turning off Word 29 like this. It is on us as writers, we must send publishers and editors our writing in Word format. That's what they're expecting. You do not have to write in Word, though. I mean, just yesterday I got a Google Doc that was easy enough for me to convert, although actually the writer could have just done that conversion for me. I mean, saving Google Docs in Word format itself is easy enough to do. Should have done that. That's what I would do submitting somewhere. It's on us to save in Word format, but you can. You can do it in just about everything, including a LibreOffice, Google Docs, and Pages, Apple's word processor. Since I talked about this in the linked quitting Word video, it has been pointed out to me that if you write maths equations in your Word document, then those don't play nicely with Pages or possibly with anything else. I've no solution to that. But I suspect that if you're running Word from 7 years ago, and especially if you're still on an Intel-based Mac, I'm going to take a punt here and think you might not be writing anything that requires the latest features in the latest Word, in which case you'll be fine with anything. Just try them all out, see one you like. And that is the last practical thing I want to say to you today. There's also this thing what Microsoft talks about. So there is just this last, totally unnecessary, but I mean, unnecessary in so many ways, and that's what's aggravating. If you don't happen to know this already, okay, Microsoft has been shown to have rewritten its website to, I'm sure accidentally, remove the previous claim that Word 2019 would keep on working. And then it hasn't said this publicly, but it has told developers, quote, devices that weren't updated to a supported app version enter reduced functionality mode. Reduced functionality mode doesn't work. Yeah, that is Microsoft speak for expensive paperweight. But there is a further explanation for developers. Microsoft 365 apps use a digital certificate to validate licensing. I didn't happen to know that, and yet I'm entirely not ruffled because so many things that Apple apps do. It's not like it's unique to Microsoft, but this is. Continuing the quote, the certificate currently in use expires on July 13, 2026. So what can you do? I'm not quoting you. What can you do? It's not up to us. Because that certificate expires, you cannot write in the copy word you bought as this one-time personal purchase with a perpetual license. And actually, I'm all for certificates. They stop bad people impersonating the real app. It says, this is Word, it's from Microsoft, nothing's come in between. And okay, I personally have never renewed such a certificate. But I looked into it. It's not something you've got to go down to the local courthouse to do. If it isn't entirely automated, then renewing a certificate can vary from quite absurdly trivial to fully absurdly trivial. Microsoft is choosing to do this, and it is choosing so because the company expects, it presumes, that you will pay up rather than lose Word. I still think you should give your money to someone else, but then Apple's Pages is free. Google Docs is free. LibreOffice is free. It's actually quite hard to find someone to give you money to, but it's easy to move away from Word. And this, what Microsoft's doing now, it makes it feel like a particularly good moment to get out of there. You know? That's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Thank you very much for watching. Now, take care of yourself. Write more. And you could subscribe to this or like our page. That'd be nice as well. But writing more is the important thing. And I'll see you soon.